Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on the Apply AI strategy organized by the European Digital SME Alliance and its focus group on artificial intelligence, together with the working group on digitalization. We are about to start the webinar. We will give just a couple of minutes more for more participants to join, and then we will officially kick off the discussion. Thank you for your attention. We start soon. All right, so we start this webinar. Welcome everyone to this discussion on the Apply AI strategy as a crucial step for Europe to become an AI continent. And from the perspective of the European Digital SME Alliance as organizer of this webinar, an opportunity to enable SMEs from across Europe to be at the forefront of European AI sovereignty, because indeed from digital SMEs from across Europe, I welcomed this strategy as a first concrete step to basically operationalize European sovereignty and provide an opportunity to boost the competitiveness of the European industry, together with maintaining sovereignty over a key emerging technology as it is artificial intelligence. This strategy is a step forward to basically meet these objectives and to make sure that AI adoption goes hand in hand with AI development that is made in Europe. So from our perspective, we believe this is an opportunity for Europe to invest in itself, to invest into its European industrial base, and be more independent in developing a more powerful and sovereign digital future. So we welcome this strategy because it clearly follows an approach that is also a kind of bi-European approach, because it promotes the adoption of European AI across strategic sectors, and especially in the public sector, in what we see as a good direction to reduce strategic dependencies for Europe and make the continent more empowered, more independent in the deployment and adoption of this specific technology. We also acknowledge that there are opportunities for support that is specific to SMEs that want to adopt AI. We believe this is crucial because there is no AI adoption, there is no AI continent without SMEs being on board, and we also believe it's a positive step, the empowerment of the European Digital Innovation Hubs as a crucial intermediary to support the SMEs in their effort to adopt AI and put AI first as the strategy says in their processes of digital transformation. Now we really need that the strategy becomes operational, and we believe innovative SMEs, tech SMEs can be the protagonists, the enablers of the strategy, and together with boosting industrial capacity, We need to make life easy for SMEs. We need to make sure that the adoption of AI goes in parallel with simplification of the regulatory landscape, which is what we expect next week from the Commission. And we believe this can be the right mix, a strategy that operationalizes adoption and a strategy that simplify regulatory framework that can empower SMEs to be at the forefront of European AI sovereignty. So with this, let's say, landscape in mind, I am pleased to welcome in this webinar Ms. Małgorzata Nitowska, Head of Unit on Artificial Intelligence Innovation and Policy Coordination at DG Connect in the European Commission. And without further ado, I would like to give you the floor, Małgorzata, for your keynote speech on the Apply AI strategy. Welcome to our webinar.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me today to present the strategy. Though your introduction was quite comprehensive, so I will really have to make an effort to go beyond that, because the key elements that you have highlighted are really the ones that we were aiming for, which I will also take as a good thing. It means that we achieved our objective of kind of putting on paper what we actually want to do. So let me start with the first slide, please. So the Apply AI strategy, it's actually a continuation. Already in April this year, we have proposed the AI Continent Action Plan that presented the Commission plans for ensuring that Europe becomes a global leader, joins the global leadership in development of artificial intelligence. And it gave us these 5 fundamental building blocks that we need for that. Its main focus was the computing infrastructure that is needed for development of AI models and systems. In particular, it focused on AI factories and gigafactories. Then it had an element of data, and I'm sure as you are excited about next week when the data union strategy will be published. It had an element on building skills and focused on ensuring that we have the right expertise in Europe. We had a pillar focusing on development of algorithms and adoption, and this is the, let's say, starting block for Apply AI strategy. And last but not least, regulatory simplification, where it announced the upcoming omnibus, also due for next week. So this has kind of paved the way for us. And the star of the AI Continent Action Plan was the computing infrastructure, building already on the existing and best in the world network of public supercomputers that we have in Europe, Euro HPC. It expanded them and adapted to the needs of AI by creating these AI factories and equipping them with the famous GPUs, which are needed for computing for AI purposes. So we started slowly with 6 AI factories. Then for quite a time we had 13, and a few weeks ago 6 new joined, and now we have 19 AI factories being set up across Europe. This initiative has proven to be extremely successful, but not as successful as the gigafactories, which are the next step of computing infrastructure for the biggest models to be trained in Europe, where for the initial call of expression of interest, we received over 70 proposals. And now colleagues are on the one hand discussing with those proposals, trying to streamline these projects on the one hand, and on the other hand, they are preparing to launch an actual call for the gigafactories towards the end of the year. So the first gigafactories could have their launching phase even next year if everything goes well. So that's on computing, and if I can have next slide, please. And that leads us to Apply AI strategy. So we have the framework, we have the key building blocks, but what happens in Europe, we don't have such a great adoption rate. Our companies are not jumping on this technology, are not taking it up as fast as we would like to see that. The latest number we have is 13%. I expected that this number is actually already higher than that. Also, there are huge differences between our member states and between different sectors, but nevertheless, the average remains relatively low. At the same time, we have our key sectors, the pillars of our economy, where Europe has always been strong, which are facing this fundamental transformational shift. They need to take up this technology. So, how to do it? We presented indeed the Apply AI strategy to support those key sectors through this sectorial approach. So we had extensive consultation. We had over 17 roundtables, technical discussions with the key sectors. Our vice president hosted 2 roundtables. Of course, we also had a normal public consultation to get feedback from companies in these given sectors, as well as in public sector, of what they actually would need. The second element is AI first policy. So we would like our companies, but also public sector stakeholders, national authorities, and even us in our normal lives to consider when we face a fundamental change, when we need to develop a new product, when we want to optimize or make more efficient our production process, to consider what AI could do for us. It is a consideration which, of course, needs to take on board also potential risk and costs that this brings, and it definitely needs to involve the workforce. But AI first can provide you with solutions which will require some key changes to the way that our work or our production process are organized. Therefore, it is very important that in these fundamental moments, in these key transformational moments, we consider AI first, whether it can help us, whether it can provide a solution. This is important because AI should not be limited to helping us write a better email. It should not be this fringe technology which is fun to use or to create something. It should really be the core technology used in core processes, because this is the only way that we will see a real benefits of that technology. So that brings us to the 4 key objectives of the strategy, which cover both the competitiveness angle and the sovereignty angle. So first, we want to increase the uptake of the technology across the economy, in particular with our SMEs. We want to see the integration of the technology in strategic sector. Of course, as Commission, as public servants, we also want to see societal benefits and not only the increase of the bottom line of the companies. And last but not least, important from the sovereignty point of view, we want to make sure that Europe has its own AI excellence, both in development and in use of AI models and systems. Next slide, please. So for these 10 key sectors plus public sector, following the discussion with the stakeholders, we propose flagship actions, which we think on the one hand are scalable, on the other hand have the highest potential of bring a transformation to the sector. So just, I will not present them all. I'm sure you have all read the communication. Let me just highlight the one in healthcare and pharma, where we are aiming to establish AI-powered screening centers. On the one hand, they will help doctors to accelerate their diagnosis, but on the other hand, they can also be very useful for underserved areas where this kind of a center can be addressing needs of people who have difficulties to access the regular healthcare. Another example is in the mobility sector, where we are launching an initiative of autonomous drive ambition cities to test self-driving cars in our cities. And as an example for the public sector, we want to have a toolbox of tested open source solutions that administrations can pick and deploy on their in their regions, in their localities that have already been tested and therefore are ready for use. For each of these sectors, you will find these type of actions. Next slide, please. And on top of that, we are also addressing cross-cutting challenges. So the first one is to enhance the opportunities for our SMEs. And for this, we are using our slightly revamped European Digital Innovation Hubs, but I will tell you more about that later. We are also supporting advanced developments in AI through Frontier AI initiative. As Europe, we don't want only to be users of this technology, we want to shape it, we want to shape its development, we want to push the boundaries. So the objective here is to put together the key stakeholders, AI developers, downstream industries, key researchers, policy stakeholders, and develop together this Frontier initiative. Yes, it also includes development of Frontier AI models, sovereign Frontier AI models, but it is not only about the replication of what has already been done by others, but really creating our own, taking on board the European approach, the European values, and European interests. The third point is ensuring trust in the European market. That's linked to the upcoming omnibus and the changes it will bring to the AI Act, but it also launches the AI Act Service Desk. And I very much encourage you to promote this among your stakeholders, among the companies. The AI Act Service Desk can help companies with their compliance questions about AI Act. Anybody can complete the form with the question, and those who have questions, of course, and face compliance issues, and they will get a response. And last but not least, we have a section concerning the AI-ready workforce. So while Continent focused mostly on AI expertise, under Apply AI, we are looking to ensure that we have workforce AI ready, and we will be proposing trainings for sectors tailored to the needs of sectors and specific job profiles within these sectors, because as we see now, journalists, doctors, nurses, teachers, everybody has to understand how to use AI, be AI literate, understand the benefits of the technology, but also the risks that it brings. Next slide, please. So here a little bit more about our experience centers for AI, or our European Digital Innovation Hubs 2.0. So the network already exists. There are over 200 hubs across Europe in all member states. They are able to support companies with any digital challenge that they are facing. And now in this second phase of their lives, after the first 3 years of operation, they are transforming into these experience centers for AI. In other words, every single hub is expected to address AI needs of companies. So they have this role of themselves supporting any AI issues that companies might have, or to present the opportunities. But we also want them to promote solutions developed in Europe. So if their clients have developed a good solution, or if they know of good European solutions, they should definitely promote those solutions to the SMEs. That will also create demand for those that develop solutions, but also ensure that more people use the solutions and that they become better. Another task that they have will be to link companies with other initiatives that we have set up, part of the AI innovation ecosystem that the companies might need. And here I mean also the testing and experimentation facilities, AI factories, AI on-demand platform, upcoming AI skills academy, and also the AI sandboxes that again can help with compliance. So there is a challenge and a big task on the EDIs. But they are absolutely ready for it. We have now concluded the first call preparing this second phase, and they are really gearing up to be able to fulfill that role, so that our SMEs don't have to understand what is the difference and where do I go when I need something. The EDI will guide them to the right interlocutor. And I think that is the end of my presentation, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, so here you can find some links and further information. And I actually should have had one more slide. For the coordination of the work of Apply AI strategy, we are setting up the Apply AI Alliance, where any stakeholders is invited to sign up to get the latest information of what's happening in terms of policies, in terms of calls, in terms of opportunities. And on this basis, through this network, we will also organize workshops, because we found the discussions with the sectors very, very useful, and want to continue and want to stay in touch with the key stakeholders to see how AI develops in the different sectors, what barriers are being faced, and what lessons are learned and what best practices are there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Małgorzata. Thank you very much. Maybe I have a first question for you, because it was a comprehensive presentation. And as I was saying in the beginning, basically our interest is there for basically operationalizing the strategy and having SMEs becoming the protagonists and the enablers also of the strategy in practice. So in terms of also the strategy enhancing tech sovereignty and emphasizing one of the objectives, that is the promotion of European own AI solutions. You know, there is 1 billion of funds that will be there for AI deployment. Do you know, could you tell us if there will be some type of conditionality, let's say, that will ensure that this funding will be actually channeled to European-owned or European government technologies, rather than running the risk to subsidize non-European and non-sovereign solutions?
That is actually an easy question to answer, because this funding is mostly under Horizon Europe and Digital Europe program, and they have their own limitations. So it is simply impossible to, especially in the Digital Europe program, to have entities established out of the European Union. There are some let's say some flexibility in terms of other countries in Europe, like the Western Balkans or Turkey and Ukraine, who are associated to Digital Europe program and therefore can participate. But, you know, for example, US cannot, or Canada cannot. So in this sense, in the first phase, that's definitely gonna happen. For the other things, like, for example, when our EDIs are supporting a company, whether they provide a solution that is European or partial European or not European at all, they are very strongly encouraged to look for European solutions. And there are European solutions already available. If you look at the AI on demand platform, for example, you can find them. They are ready to use and can be taken up. And most of our hubs definitely are doing this and promoting those European technologies. So I think from this perspective, we are really well geared to support the European sovereignty angle, and to ensure that as much as possible, the solutions that are being deployed are made in Europe.
Thank you, Małgorzata, for this. So I hope you can stay with us for this panel discussion now with key stakeholders in the digital sector and beyond. So indeed, I'm happy to introduce and welcome Florian Schaffer, Policy Officer at the Austrian Federal Economic Chamber, Jennifer Wood, our Chief Product and Technology Officer at Logically AI, and Christina Bagiu, President at the European Digital Innovation Hub, Digital Innovation Zone from Romania. Welcome all. I will start given that indeed this strategy is also about AI adoption from critical sectors. I will start with a question to Florian Schaffer, because indeed you represent Austrian companies. We would like to hear from you. I think you can bring these important insights to this debate about what are you actually hearing from your members about AI adoption, and what are, as there are many, the barriers that still, as Madhozata was saying, do not help to bring this number of companies adopting AI substantially up over the last years. Could you tell us a bit about this?
Yes, thank you very much. Also, again, for the invitation for this nice panel. Small background about the Austrian Economic Chamber. We represent the interest of all Austrian companies. It's a mandatory membership. So more than 590,000 employees, from small to big corporation. We have 9 regional chambers in 7 sectors. What we are seeing is that the uptake of AI is rising. So the statistic Austria shows that right now we have 30% AI usage. This comes from 20% last year, 11% before that in 2023, and 2021, 9%. So there is a positive trend. And companies are also quite positive about use of AI. Only 30% see AI negative in a way that it can also lead to a job loss, etc. So actually, it's quite a positive view on AI, that it helps the companies, also helps the employees, and this is quite good. The biggest problem is when you look at the companies that don't adopt AI, is that they don't see the use of AI. So it's also a kind of question, can you translate a clear benefit of using AI? This is the biggest problem when companies don't apply AI, to get them seeing the real benefits of it. When you implement it, it's important to receive a commitment from both sides. We see from the statistics that we do, that also some other research institutions do. So that means that you have a clear C-level commitment on the adoption of AI. Not only the middle manager saying it's a good technology, but really having a C-level commitment, also getting the employees on board as well, so that you have a common understanding that it actually helps the whole company, and having a common commitment to that. What are the barriers and for the economy in Austria? So in Austria, we have a quite diverse economy. So Austrian SMEs are the backbone of the economy, similar to Germany, 99%. But it's highly dependent on really traditional businesses called Mittelständler that work in their specific areas, like the carpenters, like bakeries, a lot of traditional business. And on the other hand, you have some really very specialized niche companies that are really, really innovative with their products and goods. And it's important that you have measures and instruments that support both of them. So the highly specialized SMEs as well as the traditional SMEs. The ETAs, for example, are really useful for a lot of traditional companies to help them uptake the technology, and some other funding measures with a higher TRL are more important for really innovative companies. But you have to have measures for both. It's really important, especially for a diverse economy like ours, with a lot of different SMEs. And the second thing I want to mention is when you see the uptake in the statistics with the more than 30%, what is it actually? So is it only ChatGPT usage, or is it AI with your specific data, with smaller models, etc.? And we see that the uptake is, of course, driven quite by generative AI, ChatGPT. But is there really the competitive advantage for the company? I would doubt it a little bit. So how can we actually help the companies really use their own data with smaller models, really specialized models, to get an competitive advantage? Because that's not so easy to copy from your competitor than using ChatGPT. One more thing to AI service desk that's already mentioned, because in Austria we also have an AI service desk implemented nationally, and it's quite useful. It helps. It also implemented a chatbot that helps you with questions regarding the AI Act. But the resources are very limited, and it's question if it will be enough. I mean, some companies that face high the high risk obligations, they need really a lot of advice and specialized advice, and struggle with that. And but the problem itself is that the advice you can give is only as valuable as clear as it is. And from companies, it's really important to be clear about regulation and the rules. And this is sometimes a little bit difficult. So from what we hear from our companies, the most important thing for them is having really clear rules. Also regarding to the omnibus. To sum it a little bit up, with the EDAs, the EAs test before invest, we see that as a really important vehicle. What's also good with that in Austria is the cooperation between the chambers and the DAs. So the DAs and EDAs provide a topical input, and the chambers invite companies, because we have a huge network. And this cooperation works quite well. What's a little bit difficult is the cooperation between the DH itself, because they're mostly doing their own kind of thing a little bit, and getting them working together more is a little bit difficult. So the coordination between the EDHs and DHs. Then I talked already about compliance and service desk, that the problem there is clear regulation. And one more thing to AI factories, maybe, because we also have one in Austria. From our point of view, this is kind of a black box right now. I mean, there is a lot of chances that are inside that, but it highly depends on how the AI factories are actually set up, and how they can work together with the service from EDAs and DAs. There's a lot of coordination tasks, and we are also involved with the National AI Factory, try to shape the services that they will offer and bring it in good structure from what we have and what we don't have, and what could be useful for the companies.
Sure.
This is a lot of work, actually.
Thank you, Brian, for this interesting insights that really bring us to the ground of implementing an adoption strategy across sectors. In the meantime, I would like to welcome to this discussion Honorable Member of the Parliament, Brando Benifei. Thank you for joining us. So, Brando, we've been discussing so far about indeed the Apply AI strategy and the difficulties that SMEs might encounter in adopting AI across sectors. And one of the aspects that the Apply AI strategy touches upon is to facilitate the compliance with the legislation that you have contributed to shape, the AI Act, and in particular, one of the measures that the Apply AI strategy foresees is to rely on a service desk and some type of compliance checkers to address SMEs' concerns about regulatory uncertainty. We just discussed with Malgorzata and Florian about the limited uptake, only about 13% of SMEs that currently use AI across sectors. Do you think the current instruments that are there to support SMEs are sufficient, or do you think Europe should do more to boost their AI adoption?
First of all, thank you, Antonio. I'm sorry, but my earphones have died. So I hope that by speaking a bit loud, you can hear me. I had a little technical problem, but I try to make it work anyway. So thank you. And thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Antonio, and thank you, Digital SME. So to answer your point, I think that what we see, the organization now of a access point for the SMEs as an important step forward. But and we see other initiatives ongoing. In fact, I'm sure that if we will look in a couple of days into the digital omnibus, we will see some further measures that look at the simplification for SMEs, which is something that I think we will need to look into with a serious and constructive approach. But to be frank, I think something is still missing, which is very important, which is a larger commitment by the institutions for learning and training around the adoption of AI by not only the workers, but also the business entrepreneurs and managers that have to increase their knowledge of AI solutions, and which is not the case today. So I think that a broader commitment for training, which cannot be only through the traditional channels, but for example, will mean involving in projects the business organizations, will be extremely important. In fact, the AI pact approach was in this direction. I think we should strengthen this effort, and we should see the business organization more active in participating in this. Because to be honest, I think there is a bit of lack of commitment by the general business organizations. I'm not saying the ones that are focalized on digital. Obviously, they do that. But the larger community of business is not focused enough in using all the opportunities and pushing for more opportunities for learning and training, and I mean, giving all the knowledge that is needed from the institutions, from the specialized tech companies on how to boost the uptake, starting from the SMEs of AI solutions. So in my view, yes, we are going in the right direction, but we need much more learning and training also by the ecosystem of the business organization.
Thank you, Brando. I will stay with you with another question, if you allow me, because I know you have to leave us soon. So indeed, on this matter of adoption, we hope that digital SMEs, but also the other actors represented here, like economic chambers and European Digital Innovation Labs, can contribute to drive the adoption via SMEs. But I would like to touch upon with you another key aspect of the strategy, and as even embedded in the title of this webinar, an overarching priority for the future of Europe, which is technological sovereignty. On AI infrastructure, on the ability to build AI infrastructure that is made in Europe, you have already several times highlighted in other occasions the need for shared European computing capacities and investments in supercomputers. What role do you think that the Apply AI strategy can play in ensuring equitable access to this infrastructure? And do you think there could be also legislative work from the European Commission, like the Cloud and AI Development Act, that could ensure that this computing capacity benefits European innovators and not hyperscalers?
Well, this is a very important point, and it must not be taken for granted, because I already see in existing projects this kind of issue of the lack of clarity and equity of access to the computational resources. So this is something that we see even before the present project of the AI factories and the gigafactories. So yes, I think this is a prioritarian topic to deal with, and that I'm not sure we need further legislation for this, but clearly indicate in the existing legislation that is under discussion. So you mentioned the Cloud and Development Act, but also we need the indication when money is used, when we have resources that are allocated, that the focus on giving access to the SMEs is something that must be clear. And I want to insist that I think this might sound obvious to many observers, but it's not at all. I understood that by working with the SMEs and talking with those that would need to access these resources. And if they do not, they end up resorting to big tech companies in the private part, which is obviously important to have cooperation and this kind of connection between SMEs and the bigger companies, but it cannot be the only way for them to access computational power. So that's why we need to make equitable access a reality. And I think this is something we need to focus on, which must not be taken for granted, as I said.
Thank you very much, Brando, for these insights. We stand ready to cooperate with European policymakers and with all the relevant actors to make sure indeed that equitable access to these resources is granted and that Europe can benefit from this to create really a technologically sovereign continent. So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We hope to keep in touch.
Let's stay in touch. Thank you very much.
So I will go to Jennifer next to discuss with you, Jennifer, since logical AI specializes in detecting coordinated behaviors and AI tools. From your perspective, building systems such as AI for internal security, including threat detection and anomaly detection, would this type of system enable European organizations, whether they are public actors or private, to deploy effective threat intelligence AI? And what's the gap between, if there is any, between what this strategy wants to achieve and what companies like you want to see in operational reality?
Thank you, Antonio. Sure. Yes. Just to give a little bit of context. So what Antonio is referring to in terms of threat detection and adversarial activity, we're a company that focuses on basically detecting things like online harms, adversarial activity, foreign influence, manipulation activities from different countries for the internal security space as well as the defense space. And we do that normally in the context of open source intelligence on social media. I would say that while that sounds like a very kind of narrow view, as an SME that's operating in the AI space, one of the things that we kind of all share is an access to data problem. One of the things that fuels the capabilities that we have, or the main thing that fuels the capabilities that we have for being able to do these ambitious things like detecting anomalies and threats across massive online spaces, is the ability to have training data. And there isn't any mechanism currently set up that allows us to do that at scale. In our particular case, the training data that we rely on belongs to large American social media companies who are not giving us access or giving anyone access to this type of training data. So our ability to have this type of capability, which will support, operational resilience for large European companies, democracies, defense systems, is really inhibited by our ability to access real world data. So of course we can generate synthetic data. We can do lots of different kind of workarounds, but the fact that we don't have kind of a public-private partnership that reflects this need is an issue. And I'm not the first one to say this. Obviously, researchers around the world talk about the same thing, and AI companies in Europe who are in completely different sectors talk about the same thing, that the access to data is really, really critical. I think that is what is kind of standing in the way of getting ahead in terms of making Europe, at least in the space that we're working on, the world leader, right? So if we're thinking about things like, okay, well, we want to be able to simulate and mitigate the detection of, some sort of an interference campaign from a foreign government against Europe, we can't really do that unless we have access to real world data. So that's one of the things that we are concerned about. I think also as an SME working in a space that is kind of very close to the public sector and the security space, clarity around compliance with some of the things that we know or have come up in the legislation is also really critical. I've had the honor and the pleasure of working on the Code of Practice Working Group 2 through Digital SME, and that gave a lot of clarity. But I think I'm kind of I'm privileged in that sense that there are AI companies, AI SMEs working around Europe that potentially don't either have that level of clarity in terms of what that means for their day-to-day work and what sort of kind of pitfalls and risks there might be and what they're working on day-to-day in their businesses. So I think those are the things that are the most critical for me. I'm welcoming this strategy. I think it will have an amazing impact, but of course we need to dig into the details and see actually what that access looks like, and how we can popularize it and spread the message across all European SME AI companies.
Thank you, Jennifer. We can only second the need for further guidance and clarity from the SME side, and not only on the implementation of this strategy, which we wish indeed to become operational and successful as much as possible, but also when it comes indeed to compliance to relevant legislation. And if there is time, I'm happy to mention one recent initiative that we have adopted also when it comes to indeed fostering SME compliance with the AI Act. Before mentioning that, I would like to go to Christina Baggio, since you represent European Digital Innovation Hub, that under this strategy is also empowered to become an experience center for AI. All European Digital Innovation Hubs will become that to bridge supply and demand and promote European AI solution. What does this mean for you, and what does this transformation actually require from you operational? And do you feel like you have the expertise, the tools and the resources to actually match this ambition to support local companies on adoption of AI solutions?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here with this very powerful discussion and questions. So a little bit about the context. I represent Digital Innovation Zone. It is an European Digital Innovation Hub, EDIH. You have heard a lot about EDIHs here, and we are based in Northeast Romania region. We have also been one of the first EDIHs to start in 2022, and we are one of the first EDIHs again to start in the second iteration with the new improved formula with the AI focus in 2026. So definitely we are in the right spot to discuss how this Apply AI strategy is for us. Actually, this is like in a decisive moment for us, because our region, Northeast Romania region, we are sitting at the intersection of two realities. One, it's a huge untapped potential, we are thinking, in healthcare, in manufacturing, in agri-food, in construction, also based on the, let's say, interesting geopolitical position that we are having between Republic of Moldova and Ukraine, but not only. But on the other hand, we have structural digital maturity gaps. And I have been watching the questions so far, and well, I'm happy to say that not only in Romania there are digital maturity gaps or gaps between, I don't know, business organizations and the public sector, or the private entities and consumers. And these digital maturity gaps are continuing to slow the adoption of advanced technology, of course, of AI. When we started the plan for the next phase of EDI ages, and we knew from the very beginning that we need to support the European Union in the AI first, AI adoption, apply AI strategies, we based our approach on data, and we collected like the data from the ground, from over at this moment over 200 digital maturity assessments, for example, from companies and public entities. Nobody discussed a lot of public entities today because, well, we are discussing about SMEs, but there also it's a huge impact that we can create via AI adoption. And the data is showing that AI and automation uptake below 15% across most sectors, with SMEs struggling with fragmented digital tools, limited internal IT capacity, and significant funding constraints. That's why the strategy's intention to refocus EDIHs as experience centers for AI, AI first intermediaries, is for us not just to welcome, it is essential. And how are we approaching this? We are already having a very strong base of creating awareness for the SMEs about deep tech, explaining AI in, let's say, accessible terms. Also developing some activities with the AI on demand platform that has been already mentioned here, and we have brought them in our region to showcase what can be done. So we are starting from structured evidence-based AI readiness approach, meaning that we are going to operationalize an AI help desk in our EDIH. We are going to use tools that are aligned with the Digital Economy and Society Index, with the DESI index. So if you are not so advanced as an SME, well, you shouldn't start with AI. You should start developing maybe an AI readiness path. We are going to use AI maturity models, and also we are going to use sector-specific diagnosis that can map the real needs of the SMEs and the public institutions towards AI. Also, what we are aiming to do is to support the innovative organizations that are developing already maybe AI-based solutions to scale up to Europe. Our whole EDIH mantra is based on deep tech made in Northeast Romania, but scaled to Europe. This means, on the other hand, stronger integration with, as Gosia was saying, the European AI infrastructures. And what we are doing there, we again have this collaboration with AI on demand platform for data sets, tools, models. We are going to develop a way of accessing the testing and experimentation facilities for large-scale validation of this deep tech made in Northeast but scaled to Europe, especially in healthcare, in manufacturing, robotics, but also GovTech. As I said, public entities can have a huge impact by adopting AI and automation. And this is where we can create also that impact for the citizen, for like the normal people walking down the street. And of course, we are going to create a help desk that is filtering and explaining the access to the AI factories for those that are really advanced, for advanced computing, fine-tuning the models, high quality experimentation. So again, we have a plan, and the plan is going to be operational in January 2026, so very soon, that our EDIH should become the bridge connecting local needs with European capabilities. And the third point in this plan is how can we enhance our expertise and the capacity on the ground. Everything sounds very good on paper, on European policies, but how can we really apply that? So we are seeing a lot of gaps in AI Act alignment, for example, in data governance, in cybersecurity, in digital strategy, across both SMEs and public sector organizations. And this is where we are intervening with EDIH-powered training programs. That was already discussed here as potential ideas. And also there's another approach that we are having, train the trainer initiatives. So in the EDIH, there are advanced organizations like the research centers, the deep tech companies, and less advanced one on the AI approach. So we are training internally to be able to discuss and support the region towards this AI focus. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina, for this very comprehensive insights that really serves us to understand also the reality on the ground, that also EDH is contribute to change and move forward. Thank you for that. I will go back to Florian, because there was this quite let's say straightforward statement from Mr. Benifei that alluded to the fact that SMEs and businesses could do more to adopt AI. From our perspective, we know as well as digital SME the challenges that are there for SMEs across sectors to have on the one hand the competencies, the tools and the resources to adopt this type of technology. So I'm curious to hear from you a reaction to what Mr. Benifei said there, and then on the implementation of the strategy and on the AI Act compliance, I would also like to hear in a few minutes also some reactions from Maldortata, but I would ask you, Florian, on the Apply AI strategy. The member states are supposed to align their national strategies with this sectorial approach. From the Austrian perspective, how realistic it is that all member states will be on a same harmonized implementation across member states?
Yes, thank you very much. So this is a complicated task to align all the different strategies with the EU strategy, but there are ways to work with it to make it happen, especially with the Digital Decade program. This is quite something where you can actually have an impact on the strategies. All member states, they have to report their roadmaps for the Digital Decade with concrete KPIs. The Commission evaluates the roadmaps for the Digital Decade and gives advice. So this is quite a chance to align strategies. Another important step that comes a little bit to is not highlighted so much is the cooperation and learning from best practice. How one member state does one initiative, what funding programs are there. Just learning from the different member states could also be fostered, and the exchange about that for each other. In Austria, our strategy was implemented in 2021, already is quite some years old. But the problem is that we don't have that strong focus on digital policy because the topic is divided into different ministries. We don't have one digital ministry, and this is a little bit difficult to get a priority for the topic, even though in Austria we invest quite a lot in research and development, 3.3% of our GDP, but having is a political priority is not so easy. Yeah, that would be my take on the Apply AI strategy and what we face in Austria as a problem for that. Yeah.
Thank you, Florian. I will go next back to Maldortata, also to start, if you agree, Maldortata, answering some of the questions that we have in the chat, in particular on a question from Francis that suggests or asks what efforts or evaluation policies are currently in place to ensure that AI systems are assessed based on their practical impact and usability, and also what plans are there to train and to promote public education that can boost responsible AI uptake. Could you tell us something about possible actions also into the wider AI continent initiative regarding, for instance, skills and education? And if I may as well ask you another question about using AI factories and supercomputers for training with dedicated access for frontier AI projects. Could you tell us to what extent companies that are outside the initiatives already undertaken indeed within this area? What's the pathway to for these companies to access this computing capacity that will be available also through the Apply AI strategy?
Thank you very much. It was very interesting to hear all the different interventions, and I think actually it shows that we are very much aligned, and a lot is happening on the ground, which aims to bring us to achieve the same objectives of the uptake of AI, uptake of European AI, and seeing more or less let's say responsible and safe uptake of the technology. On the usefulness of AI systems, as with everything, it can be used for changing the world. It can be used to destroy it. So that is actually based on the needs. We as Commission are not saying this system is more useful than the other. We are not evaluating in any type of projects the actual systems that are being developed by the companies. We fully trust that our companies know what are the needs of their clients, and they adapt the systems to those needs. So I don't think this is something where a public sector intervention would be needed. There is, of course, a lot of let's say developments which are maybe from a personal perspective, I would not consider them priority, but nevertheless, they are being developed. If they are being developed on the company time and the company manages to find clients for this, there is per se nothing wrong with that, as long, of course, as they remain safe and secure. So that I would not consider as a main issue. And as we see from the experience with our European Digital Innovation Hubs, they are very, very practically oriented. So a little bit, Christina was hinting at that, these fluffy words, policies. The SMEs, they don't care. They want to have a solution that works for them. And as long as it works, it's fine. And they want to see benefits for them, more efficiency, optimization, lower costs, and then they will take this solution up. So I'm fully here trustful in the market that there will be good AI solutions on the market. On the skills, there is actually quite a lot of activities, and we understand our responsibility quite widely. So not only relating to people developing AI and then putting it to use to others, but also overall on a society level, we need to be AI literate, and one of the measures in that area will be the AI Academy, that will provide already these AI literacy trainings, including specifically tailored for sectors and specific job profiles. But in the skills world, we as DG Connect are a very tiny player. There are others who have more expertise and also more funding in certain areas, and we collaborate very closely with our colleagues within the Commission, but also in the AI board with the member states, where we encourage them to take this on board, to align the policies, and to share also best practices that can be then spread across Europe. So in terms of skills and literacy, I think we are really on a good track. Together with the omnibus published next week, we will also publish our revamped space with repository of good practices, literacy practices, as reported to us by different companies. So I also encourage you to, if you are active in this field, to have a look there, and you can maybe find some inspiring examples. In terms of access to AI factories and, well, gigafactories don't exist yet, so let's stop on AI factories. Actually, a certain type of access is already feasible through the Euro HPC. There are calls for, including for SMEs and startups. What will happen? The AI factories will have different types of access, and it will be faster, and with different type of access, certain procedures also will be simpler. So those companies and startups that have, let's say, less needs or need to have only access for a little time to the computing capacities, that will be accelerated. Our EDIs are liaising with their local factories to build this relationship and to facilitate this. In many different fora, we are discussing these options of privileged access, but I think at this stage, this is de facto not necessary. We have companies from various sectors that manage to get this access as needed, and some of our EDIs already today have in their consortia supercomputing centers, and can already today provide access for smaller players, or let's say for smaller needs companies for these computing resources.
Thanks a lot, Margotata, for this comprehensive information that are extremely helpful also for our membership and for our community at large. If I may still ask you to help me address one more question that we have in the chat coming from Joseph about possible guidance to complying with the AI Act IRIS system. We know that the Commission has issued guidelines on generative AI models earlier on in August. Do you see any other type of similar guidance coming for the AI system?
I think these guidelines are in preparations. There is a set of guidelines that we are obliged to issue as a result of AI Act, and if I'm not mistaken, one of them is indeed relating to high risk models. So stay tuned, and they should be available relatively soon.
Thank you very much. We are, of course, following closely the applicability of the obligation on IRIS system. I may take this occasion to say that we recently, as Digital SME, went out with a kind of appeal for flexibility also to consider into the upcoming omnibus when it comes to, making sure that the tools that also the AI Act foresees as helpful for SMEs to comply with the AI Act, such as regulatory sandboxes and relevant standards, we would like to see those actually, available in practice for SMEs before the actual applicability of the obligations related to IRIS AI systems will come into force in August next year. So we are following closely this development, and we recently made this appeal and campaign to call for a cautious approach when it comes to applicability of this, especially when it comes to SMEs. But this is still in the spirit of having SMEs fully compliant with the spirit of the law, fully supporting the implementation of the AI Act and contributing to the uptake and the innovation on responsible AI in Europe. Because we deem that this is, of course, essential also to boost AI innovation and sovereignty at large. On these topics, I may come back then to Jennifer, because I would like to ask also, given the scope of logically AI, what in the space where logically operates, how does Europe position in terms of sovereignty and AI solution compare globally? Does, according to you, this Apply AI strategy create advantages for European companies in the space where you operate, or barriers still persist elsewhere?
I think it's very inspiring and encouraging, and I'm extremely excited about what this can do for companies like ours. There is an AI arms race, a global one, right? We know that the West, collectively, the United States and Europe are also competing with other parts of the world in AI innovation and AI development. I think Europe is beginning to scale. We're starting to see a lot of venture capital investment in our region, which is extremely encouraging. All of this input from the Commission, all of the support that we're getting across research programs that have actually benefited our ability to develop innovative solutions and scale. So extremely excited about that. I think we can obviously do better, right? There's a whole AI education piece that is probably missing. There is, as I mentioned before, further clarity on compliance issues, regulations. All of this is happening very quickly, and it's really hard potentially for smaller companies like ours to stay ahead. So I think that's why it's important that organizations like Digital SME are here to help us do that. But I think the sky's the limit really in terms of what Europe can do. We have some of the best engineers, some of the best scientific minds, programs like all of the research programs that the Commission has been funding over the past several decades. I think we're starting to see the fruits of that. And I'm extremely encouraged and just really happy to see that this initiative is taking place. Now, again, it's hard for smaller companies to navigate what the opportunities are. So we really need to keep that in mind, that some of us are startups, some of us are scale-ups. We're all working 24/7 to develop these solutions, and we need all the help that we can get.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. I saw, Florian, you probably wanted to intervene before on, I guess, compliance with the AI Act and support for SMEs, maybe?
Yeah, not that one. I talked already about digital omnibus, and we'll see what it brings, if it brings more clarity or not. But I wanted to add another point when it comes to the uptake for the companies, for the SMEs, that they want to have solutions that help them, and they don't think so much about policies, etc. Yes, but on the other hand, with perspective on sovereignty and also what you said, Jennifer Woodard, with the data, I think we also have to share some knowledge about what is there, what European solutions are there, European AI solutions, and to promote that and to create a market for that. Because big tech companies, they're really good in selling their solutions and making it really easy to uptake them. And for European alternatives, it's always a little bit difficult to get on the market. And we have to help sharing the knowledge about what is there, how you can uptake that for our sovereignty and also for our data, that they being processed by European alternatives and not by big tech companies, because that's a problem. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Florian, for these comments indeed. And then I would go towards the end of our discussion by going back to Christina, asking indeed about the Apply AI strategy, because the strategy also launches a call to invite European AI companies to share their solution with European Digital Innovation Hubs to promote wide-scale deployment of these solutions. What is it, you partially touched upon this already, but what is it from your side that makes an AI solution actually adoptable by the SMEs that work with you?
Yes, well, for many SMEs, AI is still seen as something abstract, expensive, or too complex. So for adoption to work, it needs that those AI solutions to be grounded in, let's say, a couple of criteria. First, that they do solve a real validated problem. Now there's this tendency to say, well, we have this with AI and this is the best way possible to solve a problem. No. Our digital maturity assessment, our work from ground zero with SMEs, confirm that indeed there are some clear sectoral priorities where AI can support. But in other cases, it's not. You shouldn't start with AI. You should solve other things first. For example, AI in manufacturing, automation and manufacturing, robotics, human robot interactions. It's something important and makes a change. Diagnosis and digital twinning, for example, in healthcare, again with AI, it makes a change. Customer analytics in retail, it makes a change. I'm thinking about changes in, let's say, in the life of a business. The other criteria could be that the AI solution matches the digital readiness of the beneficiary. Because we are seeing SMEs with digital maturity scores of 4 out of 12, meaning that they barely have some hardware and some website. So those solutions should integrate with their legacy system, should provide onboarding a system, should require minimal data pre-processing. On the other hand, a solution to be adopted needs to have transparent costs, because financial constraints remain the primary barrier for over 70% of the companies in our region. So we are developing something that is called Funding Navigator. We are supporting the companies understand their technology adoption path, but also the funding path for that technology. An AI solution without financing is just not adoptable. We don't have the money to buy it or to support the operational costs for that. And of course, a solution should comply with EU regulations and trustworthy AI principles, which matters hugely in healthcare, public administration, or high-impact domains. And I think the last but not the least is all AI solutions to be adopted by SMEs should come with training and support capacity. Because an SME has limited internal staffing. It's not a huge corporation. They don't have AI governance office or something like this. So adoption requires, first and foremost, local knowledge transfer, not just technology delivery. And we believe that this is a very good spot for the EDIHs to act and create impact. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Christina, and looking forward to indeed working together also with you and the EDIHs to make the purpose of this strategy become a reality, also leveraging on the role that digital SMEs can have to be enablers of adoption of AI across industrial sector. So I would say that your insights bring us to an end of the discussion. I would like to thank all of our speakers, Margotata, Florian, Jennifer, and Christina for your time, for this insightful discussion. We believe there will be many opportunities to continue our discussions on the strategy and on accelerating AI innovation and adoption in Europe in a way that makes the continent more sovereign and competitive. And I would like to take this opportunity to already invite you to the next opportunity that is coming very soon in person in Brussels at the Digital SME Summit, where, of course, tax sovereignty and competitiveness will be the core topics, and we will have dedicated discussion on indeed sovereign AI. So we hope to see many of you there, and to continue to discuss, to possibly address even more questions. You have all the details at this link in the chat and on the QR code on the screen. So we hope to see many of you even directly in person in Brussels on that day. Thank you so much for your attention today and participation, and we look